Karen invited me to come chat with everybody today as part of a lunch and learn to share some information and to share thoughts. And I know a lot of medical talks are given, but this one's not going to be quite medical. About 3 years ago, I was asked by the university to speak at a leadership conference they were giving to all the people at the medical school who were considered leaders. I'm not sure exactly what that means either. But the theme was comic books. And so I guess because I'm the pediatric ophthalmologist, they thought I might be good at that. And I was tooling around the internet and thought, I'm not sure what to talk about and how to deal with this. So I stumbled upon this website called DocStock, where the president or the CEO, Jason Nazar, had created this talk called 10 Startup Lessons Entrepreneurs Can Learn from Superheroes. And he released it free on the internet for people to use and look at. And he's got a poster that goes along with it. And from that, I started working on how this could overlap into what we do in our lives. And I used that as the backbone. A lot of the stuff you'll see that I changed and added and all. But that's, I got to give credit to him because it was a very clever idea on what to do. So from that, I created this 10 lessons we all can learn from comic book superheroes. And I was just saying before that I collected comic books my whole life. Since I was a little kid, my brother and I would go to the comic book store and we would hang out with the other geeks, interested people, and we would read comic books. And I learned a lot of life lessons there. So this really hits home for me. And most of the comic book heroes we all know. And so it's a touch point in our lives that we all know who they are. And it makes it a lot easier. So let's go, start jumping into these 10 lessons that we can learn. The first lesson comes from The Flash. And The Flash teaches us that superheroes are the best at what they do. Not at everything, but at what they do. The Flash is not the best flying superhero. He's the fastest superhero. We know that because his name is Flash, right? So he tells you who he is, he tells you what he does, and he does it really well. So the way I translate that and think about it is, if you're going to be a tech, be the best tech. You're not expected to be something else. You're the Flash. That's what you do. You're going to be really good at what you do. If you're going to sit at the front desk and answer the phones, that's what you do. You're the Flash. So be the best at it. Think about how to be the best. Think about how you can use it better. I'll never forget reading the comic books when I was a kid, and the Flash figures out that he can move so fast that he can vibrate and he can go through walls. He took his speed and turned it into another skill. So you may be a tech, but you're a caring person with a heart. So in that position, for example, at the Ratner, I have Becky and Erica, who in addition to getting visual acuity information, are making a family feel at home. Because that extends the job into a new job. It's not written in the job description they're supposed to make some kid feel better, but they're taking their skill set and they're being the best at what they do. So you can expand it. Flash taught us that. Does it happen in real life? Sure. Steve Jobs. Apple was supposed to be insanely great. That was his line. And it was. He made it that way. He told you what he was going to do and he did it. And he said, being the richest man in the cemetery doesn't matter to me. It's very poignant, it's powerful because he's gone now. But what he said was going to bed at night saying, we've done something wonderful. That is what matters to me. I'd like to go home each day saying I did something wonderful, that I made a difference. I get to go to work. Mark Lewis, one of the anesthesiologists, pointed this out to me, that his kid said, Dad, I get to go play soccer? When he finally got his chance to play. And I realized that's what little kids think. They get the chance to do that. I get the chance to make a difference in someone's life? Are you kidding me? I get the chance to be a superhero? Really? That's amazing. We get that chance every day. We get the chance to go to sleep saying we did something for someone. It doesn't have to be enormous. It can be calming someone's fears. It can just be touching their arm. It can be something very simple. It could be getting a good visual acuity. It could be making the appointment for them. That's the best time. Whatever it is, you get a chance to make a difference in the life of someone else. That's pretty cool. See, money's not in that conversation, is it? Because there is no money that can do that, that can give you that feeling. So that really makes a difference, which leads us to the next lesson from Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, do you guys know? Captain Marvel's a kid who says the word Shazam, a lightning bolt hits him, and he turns into a man with superpowers. But because he's a kid, he's kind of a cheeseball. He talks like a kid talks a lot. But he's crystal clear of his purpose. There's no doubt about what he's there for. And superheroes know this. They're here to help others. Let me say that again. They're here to help others. It's not about the superhero. It's not about, hey, look how good I did. It's about, are you okay, ma'am? Great, I'm glad I could help. Let's be clear on our mission. We should be obsessed not with ourselves, but with how we're going to help other people solve their issues. And I talk to my kids about that all the time. It's not about ourselves. It's about how to make a difference to other people. That's what we do. We make a difference for other people. It matters. It really matters. It can change the world in so many ways. Sometimes they're huge, and sometimes they're small, but it matters. It all matters. So long as you're not thinking about yourself as the center of the universe when you're going to work each day, and you're thinking about the person you're trying to help, it all starts to make sense on what we're here for and what we're trying to accomplish. Right? So, again, there's no amount of money that makes that happen. Does that happen in real life? Are people really like that in real life? I see it every day. I see people making a difference every day. Here. Rosa Parks is one of the most famous people in American history. During the Civil War era, she got on a bus in the Deep South and was told to go to the back, and she said, no. Why should I have to go to the back? And it helped trigger the entire civil rights movement. It was a major part of it. Look at this humble woman, just a person who said you must never be fearful about what you're doing when it is right. When you take on a mission that's right, you should never be worried about it. You can look anybody in the eye, regardless of who it is, regardless of what they're saying to you. If you know you did the right thing in your heart, you have nothing to be worried about. You stand strong on that. You're doing the right thing, and you did the right thing. You should never worry about it. Superheroes speak up. It's always their job. Now, it does look like Margie, doesn't it? So, superheroes help people by solving problems. They don't pass them along, and they speak out for those who can't speak for themselves. It's always their job. I tell my kids, when you see a piece of paper in the street, pick it up. But Dad, it's not mine. I didn't drop it. Who cares? It's our job to do it. It's our job. You see dirt in the hallway, pick it up. Today I was coming in this morning, and some people who I had trouble understanding when they asked me a question stopped their car right in front of me and asked me for directions. Is that really my job to give directions? Of course it is. They needed help. I'm a helper. That's what we're here for. I stopped and I gave them directions to Thornton. It took me 2 seconds out of my day. Somebody's walking with a cane and they have trouble getting the door open. I tell my kids, get up and help. Let's go. Let's make a difference. It's our job. It's not somebody else's job. It's always our job. And if you're working with people that feel that way, you never feel bad about it. Because everybody's always thinking it's always our job. So the job is to help the patient. And if you're doing it, what you're supposed to do, and you see something that needs to get done, you go do it. Somebody else does what they have to get done. It all gets done. Because our goal is clear. You can't write job descriptions to say, get the job done. But it really is what it is. Joe and I have talked for years about that. God knows what her job description is. I don't know. But I can tell you this, Joe doesn't leave until the work is done. There's no clock on her. And if she comes in and says, I have a dentist appointment at 3 o'clock, I'm like, and you're telling me because? She says, well, I thought you might want to know, you know. And I don't care. The work gets done. That's all that really matters. It's not about the clock. It's about the work gets done. Stuff gets done that needs to be done. That's how superheroes live. That's how we can live, that we get stuff done. Now, part of that is speaking up when you see something that's not right, pointing it out, talking to each other. Dr. Ben Carson is chief of pediatric neurosurgery at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. He is revered, one of the smartest men in medicine. A couple of weeks ago, he spoke at the National Prayer Breakfast. And I'm going to show you just a small snip of what he said. Sitting 2 seats away from him is the president, Barack Obama. I figure if the president could listen to him, we can too. I want you to hear what he says about speaking up and why it matters.
You know, I'm reminded of a very successful young businessman, and he loved to buy his mother these exotic gifts for Mother's Day, and he ran out of ideas, and then he ran across these birds. These birds were cool. You know, they cost $5,000 a piece. They could dance, they could sing, they could talk. He was so excited he bought 2 of them. Sent them to his mother, couldn't wait to call her up on Mother's Day. Mother, what'd you think of those birds? And she said, they was good. He said, no, Mother, you didn't eat those birds. Those birds cost $5,000 a piece. They could dance, they could sing, they could talk. And she said, well, they should have said something. And you know, that's where we end up too if we don't speak up for what we believe. And you know, what we need to do.
That's where we end up too if we don't speak up for what we believe. We end up for being eaten for lunch. Okay? So it's really important to remember that. So you speak up. It could be you speak up because you say there's a, you know, in my office, there's a strange interaction between that father and that child. I noticed it. Great. You speak up because you saw something wrong happening. That's what we're supposed to do. There's lots of ways to speak up in that setting. There's lots of ways to make a difference. One of them is not saying nothing. That's not the okay one. Otherwise, you get eaten for lunch. Spider-Man, superheroes believe they can get the job done, and they do. The point is to get the job done. How you do it's less important. It may not be pretty, so what? Spider-Man doesn't always get the job done pretty, but he gets the job done. But you have to believe you can do it before anything happens. So it's an I will instead of I'll try. But the tie-in to that is that you can't be told exactly how to do it. Right? So let me tell you a story about our office. Kids come in and they're scared. They're worried. They're frightened. They're coming to the doctors, right? They walk into our office and sometimes they walk up to the front desk and who's sitting there? With purple hair. With purple hair. Did I tell Rebecca to dye her hair purple? Never. But you know what that did? It was a simple thing. It's not in the job description. It's not there. But she got it. Her job is to be the entree. It's not just to type something into a computer. Hello, we are not robots, we are people. And you have to bring your own sensibility to the job. America and Becky can tell you how hard it is to get visions on kids. Kevin, you're doing that with Sheer Robbins all the time. It's hard. The stuff that you're doing, you can't really write it down how you do it. You use your gut instinct. You use your caring. The kids know that you bring that to the table. Is that really in the job description? If somebody holds you to that job description, it's a mistake. What you hold people to is, we're supposed to be here to help the patient, however that works out. Right? Do I have to tell Joe to chat on the phone with a patient who's scared about surgery? She just does it. And do I say to her, you know, you spent 27 seconds on that phone call. That's 3 seconds more than you're allowed. Little problem there. Never. It's not the right way to get people to be part of what we're doing. And we shouldn't look at life that way. We shouldn't look at where we work that way. The way we believe here is that we have a job to get it done, and we will get it done. We are the Shiley Eye Center. Just like the Flash is the fastest, we're the best. Our OR is the best. Our front desk is the best. We have, from top to bottom, a group of people who are just spectacular. I'm so honored and privileged to work with everybody in this room. Because you put the needs of the patient first. And if we start telling you how to do that, we will stifle your creativity. And like the Flash, you figured out to vibrate through the wall. We'll never figure those things out. If I told Rebecca she had to wear something or act a certain way, she'd never dye her hair purple. And I would never have thought of that. So you bring yourself to the table with the attitude of, I will make it. I can do this. I really can. And it may not be pretty, but I'm going to get there. I'm going to make a difference. Somehow, some way, I can and will make a difference. And I think that attitude makes all the difference. Now, this is a really appropriate quote because it comes from Helen Keller, right? I mean, for an eye center, how much better does it get? No pessimist ever discovered the secrets of the stars or sailed to an uncharted land or opened a new heaven to the human spirit. I tell my kids this. When being really negative and down makes things better, I'll go there. Until then, I'm an optimist. I always believe we can get stuff done. I always believe we can accomplish the positive. I always believe we can make a difference. I tell the patient, you and I are going to fight this thing together. We'll take it on. No pessimist ever did those things. If Helen Keller had been a pessimist, her voice would still be muted. Her words would be absent to us. But she was an optimist who made a difference. Optimism, upbeat, positive energy is great. It actually lifts us up. And it spreads like an infection. And guess what? So does the negativism. And I hate the negativism. Can't stand it. Look at me. I hate. Wait, can you say that? No. So there's no point in that, right? There's no point in that. We have great people struggling to do a great job because they care. How much better could it possibly get than that? That's why I'm honored to be here. Now, what about Batman? Because we haven't heard from him yet. Superheroes never give up. Like Batman, you have to keep pressing on. Challenges are overcome by persistence. So what's Batman's superhero power? He has no special superpower. He's just a regular guy who perseveres. My brother and I, when I was a kid, used to argue about which superhero we'd want to be. I always picked Superman. I'm flying all over the world. I thought that was really cool. He always picked Batman. And he said this, and now I really appreciate it, because Batman made himself what he is. Right? He wasn't given any special things. Batman's not an MD or a PhD. Batman is a guy who just decided to make a difference. And he persisted at it and made a difference. Any one of us can make a difference. And all of us are equal at that. And here's a guy who came with none of the advantages and still makes a difference because he decided to. It's an attitude. Can anybody do that in real life? Jody Williams won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1997. She said, I believe it is possible for ordinary people to achieve extraordinary things. For me, the difference between an ordinary and an extraordinary person is not the title. Screw the title. Titles don't mean anything, right? It's not the title a person might have, but what they do to make the world a better place for us all, how they live their life is the important part. That's way more important. And I show much more respect to that than any title. By the way, what did she do? She founded the organization for the international campaign to ban landmines. Can an individual make a difference? She sure has. No superhero powers. I'm going to show you a video again, this different video from the 1992 Barcelona Olympics, what the strength of a person can do, and sometimes just with a little bit of help. He was favored to win the Olympic gold medal. Trained his whole life for this moment. In agony, he falls to the ground.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence.
Security tried to stop him from getting up.
And sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can
This is
be.
Dad.
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
This comes from an organization called Necessity for Failure. Necessity for Failure. Just, I mean, I saw it like, 20 minutes ago and I cried again every time I see it. There's so many things about that, right? His indomitable spirit. It's Batman, right? The perseverance, I'm not going to give up. But I guess now because I'm a dad, it's the dad that gets me. How do you get on the field at the Olympics? And in interviews later, he says he just wouldn't be stopped. And he's not even sure what he did, but the security said this guy was going on the track. He was going there. And they could not stop him with all the security they had there. And then security kept trying to stop he and his son. And his son said he never heard his father curse before. and the dad wouldn't let anybody get near them. Two people with an indomitable will. Now, did he win the race? He lost. But he won something in life that's greater than winning and losing. It was his will to go on that's inspiring. It's not that things won't go wrong. Stuff's always going to go wrong. None of us are perfect. Stuff's going to happen. But we get back up, right? And we finish. But we don't do it alone. Look at that. We do it with help from others. And that's what a team is together. So the next lesson from superheroes is that we're not flawless. No one's flawless. None of us are. Superheroes have flaws. Every member of our team will too. Every one of us is flawed, me included. They need help too. So what? We all do. So what? None of us are perfect. Who cares? That's not the issue. The issue is we're all pulling in the same direction. We're all here for the same reason. We'll lift each other up when we need a hand. A few nights ago, I watched this guy at the Oscars.
I want to thank them, and I want to thank what they taught me, which is that you have to work harder than you think you possibly can. You can't hold grudges. It's hard, but you can't hold grudges. And it doesn't matter how you get knocked down in life, because that's going to happen. All that matters is that you got to get up. Violet, Sam, and Sarah, I love you.
So the least, right? I mean, the least we can do is not knock each other down, but instead give each other a hand up when we get down. That's the position we want to be in, not the other way around. There's no reason for the other way around. Because together, we can accomplish huge feats. Because that's what superheroes do. They make big differences. Now, the differences may be not nuclear war averted, We don't get to do that each day. But the same effort it takes to start a lemonade stand or a college club is the effort it takes to change the world. Our goal is to accomplish the most amazing feat imaginable. Help the patient save their world. Help the patient save their world. That's what our job is. That's what we do. Again, money is not in here. Help the patient save their world. That's the feat that we can accomplish together. We can make that difference. How? Does anybody come here not intending to help the patient? I hope not. I hope everyone's goal when they walk in the door is I get, like Mark Lewis's son said, I get to be the one who helps make a difference. So sometimes, though, our intent and our impact don't match. When the impact on somebody isn't positive, it's not because anyone in this room doesn't have the intent, but something in between gets in the way. The behavior and your actions must align with your intent to get the impact to match what you mean to do. When something goes wrong, my assumption is not because someone didn't care about doing a great job, not because someone wasn't being responsible or meaning to do it right, but because somehow their behavior and action didn't match their intent, so the impact wasn't there. That's the discussion. How can we do better next time? How can we get our behavior to, and our actions to work better so we impact the patient the way we want to impact it, or our children the way we want to impact it, or our friends, or our spouse, or whoever it is? Anybody here start the day with bad intent? Not one of us. And I wouldn't believe it if you said it. I know everybody too well. So it's just a matter of getting our impact to match by having our behavior and actions align. We can do that. And it means you make a difference. See, superheroes don't do it for the glory. You get glory as a byproduct. You don't do it because you want the attention. You do it because it's the right thing to do. And if the attention comes, fine. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Doing it for the attention is now about yourself instead of about the other person. You do it for the other person. If somebody notices, great. If they don't, so what? That's not why you do it. Joshua Bell is the world's greatest violinist currently. You pay $400 to $500 a seat to sit and listen to him play. The Washington Post decided to try an experiment. They put him in a subway station in Washington, D.C., the night after he sold out the Kennedy Hall at $500 a seat to play violin. One of the biggest stars around. Joshua Bell. He's right there. He picked one of the hardest pieces of violin music to play. He said he has never played so well in his life because he couldn't believe everybody was just walking right by him. He had a hat out there to collect money or change that people might throw at him. $500 a seat. People just not even paying the littlest bit of attention to him. They didn't care who he was. They had their own life. He said for the first 2 hours, he had never been so frustrated in his entire life. He was there for 4 hours. He said, but after the first 2 hours, he was humbled. And he remembered why he played music in the first place. It wasn't to have a cheering crowd of adulation. It was because he loved the music. And he said it was one of those great moments in his life that he had it brought back to him of what he was there for in the first place. And in 4 hours, one person, I think, recognized him. And everyone else just went about their way. And in 4 hours, he made $32.40 playing his violin. But he said it was one of the most powerful things he'd ever experienced. Reminded that the glory is not the right reason to be doing any of this. To make a difference matters. I remember when the doctor's television show came here, and they filmed me operating. And they said, are you going to be okay with the TV cameras? And I said to him, how can the TV cameras put any more pressure on me than the pressure to deliver for this family a great outcome for their child? What could possibly be a more powerful responsibility that I have? or make anything any worse or any more intense than the fact that there's a family out there that adores this child that's counting on me to deliver. I don't care who's in the room watching. I only have one job, and that job's to take care of that kid. See, you do the job. And Joshua Bell reminded me of that and learned it himself. Glory's only secondary, and the glory's fleeting. Who cares? Who cares about all that stuff? The look in the patient's eye, the help that you did, just a small thank you matters. We get it all the time. Do you know how many thank yous I get from patients that tell me how wonderful the experience was, how great the operating room was, how kind the people in the office were, how wonderful the reception desk was? I hear it every day. It's not on television, but it really makes a difference. And it lets you go to sleep at night feeling really good about yourself. See, superheroes can do it by themselves, but are more powerful in teams. You always have to have each other's back. It's you versus the world, and bringing together your own team with the mutual respect, loyalty, and camaraderie of that team is vital. You know, we're in our office, we're running around, we're seeing patients, and so you don't know where somebody is. Do you bitch about it and moan? Where's that person? Or if we're all on the same page, you figure that person's got to be doing something that needed to be done. And if they walk out to make a phone call, is it because their kid fell and hurt themselves and they need to take that call? Anybody begrudge that? You trust them to make a good decision. You didn't tell them exactly what to do, except we all know the goal. And if we pitch together as a team, how great is that? How much more can we achieve when all of us get together to do the same thing? I walk in the room, I know the vision's accurate. That's awesome. And the patient's happy because someone cared about that. And so this is all of us respecting each other, that we all care about the same thing, and we're all going to do a good job because our intent when we walk in the door is all positive. And we all know what our goal is, to make a difference for the patient. It's about them, right? That's what our goal is. So it's really nice to work in a team like that, and we have that here at Shiley. I love the people we work with. I think it's astonishing that there's so many people who care about the job. We run late all the time. America's sitting there at the end of the day. She wants to go for a run in the worst way, and she stays until the patients are done. Seriously. I don't say to her, you can't leave. I don't. She cares about making a difference for people. See, if you don't stand on top of people and hammer them and whip them, and everybody's on the same page, and we all care about the same thing, and you know everybody's working hard, it's a pleasure to work like that, right? We're all on the same thing. No big deal. Then you're not working late. You're not working overtime. You're just doing the job because you love it. And it's not even work in that way because we get to come here and do it. So in teams together. But let's take a look at the Dilbert cartoon. The boss says, I'm moving to a shared leadership model to Dilbert. Each of you will take one piece of the leadership role. And Dilbert says, what's my piece? Let's see, I have you down for something called blame. Does that really get anywhere? Does that do any good? No, right? Because everyone comes in with the good intent. Now we just have to figure out how to make it better. What can we do to make it better? Blame has no role in that. There's no place for it. We don't need that. Alex Haley, the author of Roots, said, find the good and praise it. Let's work off that good. We can build off that. We have something positive that we're working off of. Let's build off of it. Great. We did a great job. Okay, it didn't work out that well today. Next time, let's figure out how we can do better. Let's find the good. John Wooden, for those of you who don't know, is the greatest basketball coach in history. He won 10 national championships up the road at UCLA. He developed this thing called the Pyramid of Success. It's on each of my kids' mirrors in their bathrooms, and I give it to all the kids when I coach their teams. So let's start with how we define success. Success is the peace of mind, which is a direct result of the satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to become the best of what you're capable. Batman made the effort to become the best of which he's capable. Is winning in that? The greatest coach in history with the most wins in history didn't focus on winning. It's the wrong focus. The focus is on doing your best. How do you achieve that? Well, here are the building blocks. Tell me if you find negativism in this anywhere. Industriousness, friendship, loyalty, cooperation, enthusiasm or passion, Self-control. I talked to my son about that last night. Alertness. Initiative. It's my job. I'm going to go make that difference. Intent. Conditioning. I practiced. I got good at what I did. I thought about it. I wanted to be good. The skill set you bring. Team spirit. Poise. Confidence. And that leads to excellence and greatness. But look, he's got faith and patience in there too. Think about that. It's all positives. The positives build on each other. The negatives destroy. Positives build, negatives destroy. That's why we use positive. It's why we want to work in a place that's positive. So here are lessons in leadership. Good values attract good people. Like a magnet, good people come around you when you do a good job, when you care about inside what the most important thing is. And if you look around here, he says things like it takes 10 hands. The basketball team has 5 players to make a basket. 10 hands to make that basket. It's not the individual, it's the team. And so on. Think about how we build this, okay? So I want to start ending, and to do that, I have to get to this last thing, and that is of character. They say character is what you do when no one is looking. Character is what you do when you bring a patient into the room and they walk slowly. And so you don't go, come on, we got to get into the room. The doctor's waiting for you. You walk with them slowly and say, don't worry, Mr. Jones. Take your time. It's okay. No one sees that happen. No one's going to give you glory. It's not on TV. The Kardashians aren't going to wave hello to you. But that's what character is. No one's watching, but you still do the right thing. You walk by the piece of paper, you pick it up and throw it out. You made the world just a little bit nicer. Character. Character is taking an extra moment to say a nice word, to tell someone you like what they wore today. You did a good job. Thank you. Just to say thank you. My son tells me that I didn't even know we did it, but my wife and I called please and thank you magic words, because magical things happen when you say please and thank you. It's sad to me that my kids get complimented for saying please and thank you, because everybody should, but they do. Reputation, says John Wooden, is what others perceive you as being, and their opinion may be right or wrong. Who cares? Character, however, is what you really are, what's really inside of you as a person. And nobody knows that but you, but that's what matters the most, is that character. So it leads us to the last lesson we learned from superheroes, and because I love Superman, superheroes' true strength comes from their character. Everybody knows that there are times when Superman faces red kryptonite, loses his powers, but he still makes a difference. Character, Batman, character is what makes the difference. No matter how super you think you are, your strength, your achievements, your success comes from your character. Be courageous, be respectful, be honorable, be selfless. That's what we learn from superheroes. Step up to the plate and make a difference for people. So do these superheroes exist? I've tried to give you examples of ones that exist. Let me give you another superhero, and it's sort of timely because we just celebrated a day in his honor not long ago. Martin Luther King said, "It is always the right time to do the right thing. Never fear doing the right thing. Never fear when you are taking care of the patient. If you put their interests first, you're okay. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? I hope this was of some interest to everybody, because comic books are my thing. But I want to thank all of you for knowing this and understanding this and demonstrating it to me and teaching me the lessons on a daily basis. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. So I think we're done, Karen? It's always the right time. Thank you, Elham.